Parade and coronation will be at 6:30, and the coronation of the lovely Miss Soul Bazaar at 7. There will be a Soul Bazaar's talent and fashion show that you cannot afford to miss. At 10 o'clock on Saturday, we will have the Centennial Show. And once again, Britain School will make a presentation at 1 p.m. The annual Nancy Davis's fashion show from Star Spencer School. Maxine Matthews with a cake bake show at 3 and an all sports show at 3:30. Maxine Matthews pie bake show at 4. Maddie Dillard's show at 4:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Look at Us All Queen show at 6 o'clock. The Pages show, the Escort show at 6:30. The Spencer's Parade of Beauty with Mrs. Wallace, and at 7:30 we will have that big Soul Bazaar annual gospel orama. You may register for prizes and also for the Dollar-thon, including baskets of groceries or ham. Oh, there are tickets on sale at the door, and you will have soul food to enjoy, all at the 1989 Contestants 1989 Soul Bazaar. You may purchase tickets at the door. You may purchase tickets from any of the staff or the young ladies. Letty,
Yes.
I want you to stay tuned because I have something that I want you to hear.
Well, I'm going to do that, but I want to ask you, did you tell us where this...
It will be at the I wanted you to ask me.
Going
It will
to
be at the
take
McFarland branch, YWCA, 1701 North Martin Luther King Boulevard.
And
Here.
you have the dates correct. It's going to be Friday.
It's going to be
and
this
Saturday.
coming Friday and Saturday, and we want you to be there.
That will be on the 28th and 29th.
That's 28th and 29th. And once again, well, I can make mistakes because I'm retiring now, and because I'm retiring, mistakes are acceptable. Okay, then
I'm
I'll
going to
see.
meet you.
Have you heard about that red hot race that's going on between Willa Johnson and Gory James?
Well, Willie Johnson and Gory James, I'm inviting you to Clara's testimonial dinner.
Well, I know.
When you're in this race, don't stay home from this dinner. Just because one win and the other one lose, don't stay home from this dinner. Come on out to this dinner. Now, what were you saying about the race?
Oh, I'm saying it's a hot race and it's too hot to handle. I hope I'll be able to handle it next week. But in the meantime, I have an issue that's hotter than that. So stay tuned to the Clara Luper radio show. Okay?
Well,
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you, Liddy. I really enjoy Liddy. I saw her downtown yesterday at that 100th anniversary parade. I'm telling you, we were represented. I don't know. I should have asked her if she was part Indian. I should have asked her. I don't know. She might be with the Indians. I should have made her take a stand. Speaking of taking a stand, life is full of challenges, and many of us will have to take stands. And sometimes taking a stand means that you are being denied some basic rights. Taking a stand means saying things that will not make you popular. And sometimes you have to stand alone. I think Daniel Webster experienced that in 1850 when he took a stand that both the North and the South were responsible for slavery, and this cost him the presidency. But now we come to a greater challenge. The challenge of taking a stand as it relates to the economic survival of our people. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that black people will be able to survive economically? Well, I don't know. I have today some very distinguished guests. I have some businessmen, and I always surround myself with people that are going places. I have two businessmen here. One has been a part of the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant for a long time, and certainly I want to thank him for sponsoring a young lady. Because when you sponsor a young lady in Miss Black Oklahoma, you're saying, I respect those young ladies that have stood up for finer womanhood, for decency, and willing to get out and try. And Mr. Chevis King Jr., I would like to thank you publicly before I say anything else for supporting not only Miss Black, but I don't think I've ever asked you for a favor for young people that you have not responded positively, and I thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Mr. King, I would also like to talk about Kenny, and thank you for bringing Kenny Chamberlain out here today. Tell me about Kenny.
Well, Kenny is a young businessman, aspiring businessman in the community that is involved in the business of fabricating structural steel, and he is very good at his trade, and he's looking for opportunities all around the city.
Okay, you must realize that I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and we don't know anything about fabricating steel. What are you talking about?
Well, we're talking about staircases, we're talking about hip roofs, we're talking about
Hip roofs.
the structural steel that keeps a building standing. We're talking about handrails. We're talking about all sorts of steel products that goes into a building. For instance, the Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church that's being built on 42nd and Kelly used a lot of steel, hundreds, thousands of dollars of steel, and we were fortunate enough as business people to get out of a $900,000 building $6,000 worth of work, and we do appreciate that. I think we could have done better, but we do appreciate it.
Okay, now, Mr. King, I heard recently that you had the nerve to criticize the black churches in Oklahoma City. Is that correct?
That is correct, Miss.
Why did you criticize these churches? And namely, I want to know the names of the churches that you criticized.
Well, Mrs. Luper, I criticize these churches because
Now, what churches? Tell me what churches.
we criticize the Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church, Ebenezer Baptist Church, the St. John's Baptist Church, the Honorable Pastor, Reverend W.K. Jackson, the Wildwood Baptist Church, that's my home church. I love my pastor, Reverend Sam Smith, the Mount Horeb Baptist Church, Evangelistic Baptist Church, St. Luke Baptist Church, and other black church programs in the city.
All right, now you criticize. Let's go. You call the name of one pastor, and you cannot discriminate. You would have to call the names of the other pastors.
Well, the Greater Mount Olive is Reverend Woodbury. Ebenezer Baptist Church is
Reverend Dallas.
Reverend Dallas. Wildwood Baptist Church, Reverend Sam Smith. Mount Horeb Baptist Church, Reverend Hill. St. Luke's, Reverend Rowland. Evangelistic Baptist Church is Reverend Roberts.
Now, all of these pastors are very distinguished, and they are long fighters for civil rights and justice and equality for all. Why would you criticize them?
Mrs. Luper, we respect these men, and we appreciate the fine job that they've done in the past. But what we are telling them now is the days of hypocrisy is over. We have facts to back our position up. There's simply racial discrimination of the worst kind going on in our city, and that's blacks discriminating against blacks. We have ministers, distinguished ministers, who is the leaders in our community, who takes positions, who march out at Tinker, who march and demonstrate at Country Boys and Remington Park racetracks, and on the other hand, they deny good, honest, hard-working black men the opportunity to share in the wealth of which they are asking black people to finance new churches. It's wrong, it's not right, it is true, and it's over.
All right, now you are saying that these big, black, beautiful churches have been built by...
Black money, black capital.
They have taken a black capital, and they have hired who to build the church?
They hire white contractors. And let me tell you this, Miss Luper, it's not a black-white issue. This is an issue for our survival, the dignity of our people. We have problems with teenage pregnancy. We have a problem with drug abuse. We have homelessness. And they have the audacity to ask us to go in debt, to give our hard-earned money, and then they turn around and give that money away out of our community, and then we have to go begging, pleading for opportunities for that same capital. It's not right.
Well, look at, I wonder, aren't you being given the opportunity to build some white churches?
We surely are not being given that opportunity.
You're saying that in Oklahoma City you have not had the opportunity to bid on any new white churches?
I do not know of any one black contractor in this city that have had the opportunities to build white churches. And particularly, that's not the point. These people have the right to take care of their families. We have the right to take care of ours.
I'm from Fifth Street Baptist Church, and I want you to know that Mr. G.M. Dotson, a member of our church, built our church. I want you to know that Mr. Luper wired our church. I want you to know that we were fortunate enough to have plumbers who was black that put the plumbing in our church. Now, you mean to tell me that you didn't have an opportunity of the black contractors to bid on any of these churches?
Well, Mrs. Luper, in a lot of cases, there's no bid process that goes on into these programs. A lot of cases, contractors are hand-picked. And we want the opportunity to control our own dollars. It's just simple as that. There's a lot of
But don't you
opportunity.
belong to Wildwood Baptist Church?
I am a faithful member of Wildwood Baptist
And
Church.
you're telling me that Wildwood Baptist Church, under the dynamic leadership of Reverend Smith, didn't give you the opportunity to bid on your own church?
A man whom I dearly love, Mr. Reverend Sam Smith, a man I dearly love, I have put him in the category of a racial discriminator. It's just pure and simple.
Well, I noticed Reverend Reed and the people at Fairview will soon be building a church. Reverend Reed was a past president of CCL, and he's been a long-time fighter for civil rights. Now, are you bidding on Fairview Baptist Church?
We are at this point have no plans. We have no opportunity. A contractor has been selected. We don't know what that process entails, but we were told by the director of that program that the contractor had been selected, it was final, and that if we wanted to do any business, we had to deal with him.
Okay, so you're saying to me that although we are building black churches, and we do have a lot of black churches in Oklahoma City, we have churches on every corner. I noticed there's a Victory Church, a new church going in out on Kelly, which could well be called Churches Avenue. You are telling me that you and the contractors have not had the opportunity to bid on any jobs for black churches.
Mrs. Luper, there are qualified general contractors.
Are they really qualified?
They are qualified.
Can they be bonded for that amount of money?
The money that the church have, those memberships who have put that money in those churches are the bonders. That money belongs to the people. Those programs can be set up. And you mentioned that Fifth Street Baptist Church was built by blacks. That's good. But the thing is, black contractors have to have more opportunities on a more frequent basis. If a black contractor is going to build one church every 10 or 20 years, he's not going to be very good. If a dentist pulls one tooth every 10 years, he's not going to be a very good dentist. If a preacher preaches one sermon every 10 years, he's not going to be a good preacher.
Well, one thing I want to know from the black contractors, are you able to get the bonding to build a big church? I know you have to have a guaranteed bond before you can build that church.
Mrs. Luper, there's a black contractor out at Tinkerfield Air Force Base working for the Defense Department that is on a $10 million contract at this moment. They have the capacity to get the bonding. We have contractors. If they're not local, we've got them all over the United States. We're saying that if there's not one in Oklahoma City, they surely are in Wichita, Kansas. They're in Little Rock, Arkansas. They're in Kansas City, Dallas, Denver.
Well, why don't you contractors write the churches and ask them? You're members of the church. Now, here you are a member of Wildwood, and you didn't ask for that building contract?
That particular building program was going on before I was a member. But the point is, we still do not, and we are being denied the opportunity for those kind of a programs. And the thing is, it has to stop.
Okay, how are you going to stop it?
Well, it's very simple. We own the money. The money do not belong to those people. That's the black people's money. And it has to end. It's either going to end by them coming to the table, talking to us, working out programs, or they're going to be removed, or they simply going to be sitting in them churches by themselves.
Well, the Lord might have told them to let the white contractors have the contract. How are you going to answer that?
Well, I have the same God that they have, and he didn't tell me that.
Well, say he told them.
Well, I simply don't believe that.
Oh, you don't believe that God is leading them in the direction of getting white contractors to build black churches for black people to work with?
It's simply going against the grains of the Bible. The Bible says that a man is supposed to take care of his family, provide for his family and his children, and the only means in the United States that we have is through economic power. We live in a capitalist society, and that's what it's all about.
Well, let me tell you an experience I had. I was on the 50th anniversary committee, and I had a white lady, Mrs. Anderson, who came over and told me that the Lord had sent her to me so that we could put out a church directory. And what all she would give us, we would get our pictures free, and we wouldn't have to buy anything. And so she went on and on and on. And I knew about the kind of racket that we have, because I know that people aren't coming taking pictures free. So finally she came back over to my house, and she said, Clara, the Lord has directed me over there. And in the meantime, I had talked to the Lord. And I told her that the Lord had directed me to tell her to come and join Fifth Street Baptist Church. I haven't heard from her since. Now, Kenny, what do you have to say?
Well, Well, I just want to say that I know that if any of these churches that we're talking about, if something happened where the minister left the church, they would not dream of finding a white pastor to come and pastor a black church. I use the same thinking, same mentality when I think about who's going to build a church. Black people going to worship there. Black people ought to have the right to build it. We got qualified people who are very anxious to participate. We could probably even get a lot of donations from the contractors in terms of labor and time and equipment, but we haven't even explored those avenues.
Maybe they are getting donations from the white contractors.
Well,
have you thought about
churches are not government entities. They have the right to do to handle their bid process in a different manner than the federal government would.
Okay, I have a preacher here, and when the preacher's called, I'm going to answer, because I'm not going to say anything about the preachers. I'm going to just ask questions. Reverend Davis?
Well, praise God. How are you, my dear?
Reverend Davis, I'm really fine.
Hallelujah. Well, I just, Miss Luper, first of all, I listen to your broadcast all the time. And I think you know that we own another radio station.
Yes.
But we listen to you all the time, and we respect you, and we love your broadcast. And you have a lot of listeners. I just wanted to make one input, because I am in almost total agreement with the contractor that's talking.
Oh, you're in agreement with the contractor?
With one exception.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you what the exception is. In 1982, the most expensive church built in Oklahoma City by the black community, I was the pastor of that church, Tabernacle Baptist Church. And we searched, our building committee and I searched all over trying to find black contractors who would be able to be bonded for the $2.5 million. We did not find any locally, and so as this contractor recommended, we went all the way to Dallas, and we found a black contractor. And that contractor, black contractor, built Tabernacle Baptist Church and did a fantastic job. Now, he, like many other contractors, underbid it, and it wasn't because he was black, but he did underbid, and it cost an extra, I guess, I'm guessing now, extra $100,000 because he couldn't finish it. But he did 99% of everything. Now, the point of the matter is, in case someone is listening that would like to come back with a negative input about the black contractor, if we had taken the lowest bid from a white contractor, it was $2.3 million, which meant that we still saved over $100,000 using the black contractor, and everybody with any sense can look at Tabernacle and see that he did a fantastic job in building it. And I'd like to say to my pastor friends, you are actually, friends, wrong to take the black folks' money and go out there and hire white people, and they take the money from the black community over to their white community and not want us to even come in that community. Now, I'm saying it clearly and I'm saying it loud. And I really pray that black pastors won't get mad. You know, they get upset with me because I do things untraditionally, and thank God. But brothers, you stop and think about it. This brother just made a statement, and he said to us black pastors that if we left the pulpit and our congregation went and got a white pastor, everybody in the community would be upset. Well, these people are legitimate businessmen, and they have track records. And they're saying to us, fairly, they're saying, please, give them a chance. If they blow it, they'll blow it on no greater percentage than the white contractors have been blowing it for years.
Amen.
And we saw it not only, just recently, we saw it with I can't even think of the name of the church, another church on 36, right at 36 and Kelly, that was just built. The contractor blew that one.
Ebenezer?
Ebenezer. And he was as white as you can get. You know, so even if you hire, and this is something we have to watch, Ms. Luper, even if you hire a black contractor and he does not do, quote, the job, don't say all black contractors can't do it, because I've heard nobody yet say all white contractors couldn't do it, and they're blowing it all over the city, all over the state and the United States. So we want a chance, and I'm not a contractor, so I'm not trying to get a job, but I'm sticking up for the black folk in this city. We've got great black men and women in this city that can do any and everything, and the only thing you need to do, Oklahoma City, is give your own folk a chance. Thank you, Ms. Luper. God bless you.
Thank you so very kindly. Well, you heard it, and Clara Luper didn't say it, so don't you say I said it, because I can say one thing. I'm going to see what kind of support I'm going to get come next Friday and Saturday from this community. I know if I were white and I was having a cat show, everybody would be down now watching the cats. But I'm having a trading industry show, a business show, an educational show, economic development, cultural exchange, health, job fair, human relations, and entertainment. And I know that the people at McGuire Plaza and others go to Muskogee to look at the flowers. I wonder will they come to the McFarland Branch Y WCA to look at the Soul Bazaar. I would like to personally invite all of you. And I'm sure my preachers will be there because those preachers, you have criticized the preachers and you have said that the preachers, and you're putting out a bulletin here, and I would like to read this. Have you considered the following facts? That as qualified general contractors, we are not getting the work that we need to get. These people should have the right to at least build and bid on churches, including the Fairview Baptist Church. It is a tragic condition that exists today, as plans for the construction of a new Fairview Baptist Church facilities advances with a white contractor. But one thing we might have overlooked, maybe the time has come for the whites to integrate the black churches.
Well, I simply think that if the black ministers continue with their thinking, that we have no alternative but to have white ministers. Because if they can't lead us on the one hand 7 days, then they should not be asking to lead us on Sundays only.
This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this show has been made possible by Terrace Gardens Nursing Home and Convalescent Center, located at 1921 Northeast 21st Street in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 424-1449. I've just received compliments because there's a patient at the Terrace Gardens Nursing Home and Convalescent Center, and this patient's parents, relatives tell me what good care he's getting, and I would like to thank you. They do have a full-time administrative staff available 24 hours a day with a full-time registered nurse and licensed nurses around the clock. They have a house doctor. They have Terrace Garden Dietary Department supervised by a certified member of the Dietary Managers Association. They are qualified people. Betty L. Hellinger is the administrator. Patricia Hoban is a bookkeeper. Kim Pack is a registered nurse and is a director of nursing. Margaret Wright is a dietary supervisor, and your relatives eat what they need. Betty Gilmer is a housekeeping supervisor, and that convalescent center is clean. Dwight McCullough, the maintenance. Gloria Melton, the activities director. Marquita McDonald's is over social service. McAllister, here I come, and I'm going down to Miss Grace Thomas' house. Tonight I will be the guest speaker at a big banquet down in McAllister, Oklahoma. I can hardly wait to get to McAllister. Now, I'm not going to the penitentiary. I'm speaking at one of the hotels. So those of you that are down to the penitentiary, remember, I won't be to see you tonight. I will be there. And I would like to thank the people in McAllister for giving me the opportunity, to come to McAllister. Now, one thing about it, they're getting ready to build a new prison because so many of our people cannot stay off of dope. They can't keep their hands off of other people's property. Well, here's some good news. They're building a new prison down in McAllister. Now, most of the inmates down there, 40% of them are black, and if you can think about, we represent 9.8% of the population in Oklahoma and represent 40% of the population in McAllister. That really says something to us. Are you going to go to that eminent governor, Belma, and ask him to let you bid on the penitentiary?
Well, of course, we're going to be in there, Mrs. Luper, trying to seek out opportunities as always. But the historical data tells us that our opportunities will likely be slim and none.
Okay, you don't think you will have the opportunity to even look toward that contract?
Well, we've had our black representatives to protest the Centennial Expressway to try to seek to get minority participation, and it just simply hasn't happened, so that we don't look forward to that. And I'd like to point out, Mrs. Luper,
Point it out. Point it out.
that we are investors in these churches. I'm showing you right now that we have several
Oh,
bonds
my gracious.
by
Here's
where
one
we've
of the biggest
invested.
bonds I've seen. You've bought all of these bonds here in these churches?
We invest in our church. We believe in these
My
programs.
gracious, thousands of dollars you have invested in these churches, and then you cannot even get to bid on them?
We do not have the opportunity that's fair, and we say that the hypocrisy is over, it's ended, and we're going to go forward from here.
Well, here I have in my hands more bonds than I've ever held. I have over $12,000 worth of bonds that one person has bought. And you bought all of these bonds and you don't have an opportunity to even bid on a church?
It is a shame, Mrs. Luper.
It is a shame. Martin Luther King said you cannot pay to be insulted. It's a sin, Martin Luther King said, to pay to be insulted. Now, if I'd put all those bonds in a church and they wouldn't allow me to bid on a church, I would sing a song. Fare you well, I'll see you someday. Now, let's get down to some serious business. Maybe it was stated by Woodrow Wilson some years ago. He said that it is better to fail in a cause that will ultimately succeed than to succeed in a cause that will ultimately fail. Well, I noticed last week, I wondered why those intelligent football players, who evidently must have been mentally alert to get to OU, how all of them have hired white lawyers. And this week I followed a case of interest of Senator Porter up in Sarah, Oklahoma. And he was up there and he was able to get a black man off in that town. Well, I wonder if that isn't the same kind of thinking. I'm in trouble for rape, alleged rape, and therefore I'll get me a white lawyer, and I can assure myself of a ticket to somewhere. Now, it could be somewhere else. I was thinking, and if the thinking of our people will change, and I'm talking about our people black and white, where black contractors can build white churches. Have you built any Indian churches?
No, we have not. Not to my knowledge.
Have you built any Indian homes?
Not to my knowledge, Mrs. Luper.
Okay, well, here's a hot one. Calvin?
You're absolutely right. I'm so proud of you to take a stand like what you've taken, because you, the guy you're interviewing, you're absolutely right. Every black church has been built around here. They've ignored the black contractors. I'm talking about my dad, talking about my uncle, Bert Luper. Bert Luper, my dad, Cartalia Luper, my uncle. Every black contractor has taken the time to learn the knowledge, to taking the time to do something great for this community. They don't mind calling you on the little bitty jobs, but when they get to a big job, they forget all about you. Right on, Mom. You're so great. You're so...
City, Oklahoma. And I would certainly like to congratulate Miss Black, Oklahoma, the lovely, talented Stormy Carr, and the lovely Miss Black, Oklahoma City, Jermaine Williams, representing the best in Oklahoma. Also represented in the parade was Natay Patterson, Miss NACP, Dante Patterson, who represented to Mr. NACP, Alicia Hildred represented Miss Freedom Fiesta, and David Fowler, who was also representing the NAACP. I had some calls from many of you out in Radio Land asking me why didn't I protest with the Indians. Let me ask you, why should I protest with the Indians? I am a student of history, and I know that it was the members of the 5 civilized tribes that brought their slaves to Oklahoma. Now give me one reason why I should be protesting with the Indians. Let me have you to study some history, and you don't have to take my word for it. Dr. Dale in his Oklahoma history, Dr. Buchanan in his history, Mrs. English in her history, Kay Teal in her history describes in details how the Indians owned slaves. Now you mean to tell me you think I would get out there and protest with the Indians when they were slave owners? My great-grandmother told me that the Indians were meaner in Oklahoma to the blacks or the freedmen than the whites. Now, the second thing that you've got to remember, in 1860, when the states were pulling out of the Union and when Oklahoma was only the land of the Indians and the federal government had promised the Indians the lands as long as grass would grow and water would flow, it was these Indians under their leader that decided that they would fight with the Confederacy. They fought with the South. I want you to put that down, and I want you to put that in your pipe and smoke it. The majority of the Indians fought with the South, fought for the preservation of slavery. And yet, somebody as black as me, you expect for me to get out there and protest with the Indians? The Indians were saying that the white man took their land. And to the Indians I say, you took black people's freedom. Not only that, but I had the opportunity to stand on the streets of my beloved city from 1958 to 1964. And during that time, Indians walked by us just like we were dirt. How many Indians participated in the sit-in movement? How many Indians belong to the NAACP? How many Indians live on this side of town, on the east side, and go and worship in black churches? Don't try to fool me. Don't try to tell me that the Indians are interested in black people. Get your history books out. Yes, I was part yesterday of the 89ers parade because the Indians will not use me against the whites. It was the whites they tried to act alike in Georgia, in Mississippi, South Carolina. Yes, so the Indians are protesting for their land. Well, I'm protesting the Indians to pay back the labor of the slaves that labored here in the territory of Oklahoma. And when you write a check to those freedmen, then I will stand and protest with you. When you write a letter to the American people and say, we are sorry that our forefathers fought with the South, and any time you pick a losing side, you lose. The federal government had said to the Indians, this land is yours as long as grass would grow and water would flow. But when the Indians lined up with the South, the federal government broke off all diplomatic relations, stating that the treaties were null and void, and I don't blame them. The Indians and the blacks must get together, however. The Indians must repent to the blacks. The Indians must ask not only for pay for their land, but the Indians must pay because they too were slave owners. I have it out in the open, that's my thoughts, and I was surprised at Mr. Leslie Brown telling me that he was on the side of the Indian, but he might be part Indian. Well, I'm not part Indian. I came from that tribe down in Ghana. I am black. I am black as yonder's midnight. I'm black enough to know that the Indians don't care nothing about me. That's how black I am. And if any of you Indians out there in radio land care, let me have your NAACP membership if you are sincere. I don't think you're sincere because every time you fight on the losing side, you're whipped. WHIPPED. And that's what happened to the Indians. They fought with Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis sent some representatives here telling the Indians that if you will fight with me, I will not interfere with your slaves. You will be independent. And you think I'm going to protest with them, but you go and protest by yourself. After all, they could get but 200 Indians to protest, and I sure would look silly out there protesting for the Indians. This part of our program is brought to you by our optometrist, Dr. A.L. Dowell, located at 934 Northeast 8th Street here in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 235-0536. If you are having any trouble reading or writing, if your children aren't doing as well in school as you think they should, why don't you call Dr. A.L. Dowell for an appointment? The telephone number is 235-0536. Marilyn Hildreth, your Allstate insurance agent, would like to say thanks to those of you that have given her the opportunity to look at your policies, whether they were life, whether they were home insurance or automobile insurance. She wants to serve you. She wants to be your agent. Her telephone number is 848-7470. Sherry's Cleaners is located at 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue, and they are open every day except Sunday. They are open a half day on Saturdays. If you want some clothes clean where they will look like new, go to Sherry's Cleaners. Carlos Williams is a professional cleaner. receiving vocational training, and then receiving experience. Experience is the best teacher, and certainly Carlos Williams has learned his lesson well. So go to 4905 Northeast Martin Luther King Avenue, and you can put your clothes in the morning, and you can pick them up in the evening. I would like to congratulate Putnam City West because they beat me twice this week in the Optimist contest. I came in second to Putnam City, and Putnam City, I want to take my hat off to you because you beat me fair and square. Yes, congratulations, Putnam City. And I would like to say thanks to the Putnam City Optimist Club for giving us an opportunity to participate in the contest. I would also like to talk about the delicious steak dinner that Putnam City Optimist Club furnished us with. I came in, I got 2 seconds and 1/3 one night, and then we went to Deaconess Hospital with the Northwest Breakfast Optimist Club. And once again, I came in, second place in the males, and then I was at the bottom in the females. That's okay. I'll be back Monday night at Northwest Classen, and also on Tuesday. I am so happy to participate in the Optimist Club. But speaking of participating, this week, students from the Kimbrough Music Studio, located at 820 Northeast 19th Street, went to Central State University. And they came back not in second place, but as superior pianist, and organist, and what have you. Congratulations must be in order for Johnny Kimbrough of the Kimbrough Music Studio, the oldest studio in Oklahoma City. A studio with experts. And those of you that are looking for some special entertainment, why don't you call Isaac or Johnny, and they will do just that. Now, the Kimbrough's Music Studio, located at 820 Northeast 19th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I would like to thank those of you that have through the years listened at the Clara Luper radio show. Those of you that have called me and you've given me news tips, I want to thank you. I'm also grateful to those of you that listen throughout the state of Oklahoma and in Oklahoma City, too. I don't know nothing that could make any person any happier than to be walking down the streets and somebody say, "Hello, Mrs. Luper. Hello, Mrs. Luper." Thank you so very, very kindly. There are many controversial issues that must be discussed. We feel that part of our job in the press is to bring you different sides of stories. We don't want you out in radio land to just hear one side of it. You want to hear the other side. Now, you heard the Indian side of it. Now you've heard Clara Luper's side of it. Now, if Mr. Leslie Brown has a better sign, tell him to call me at 478-2103 because I'm going to have to let the people speak. But speaking of sides, I have been informed that the Willard Johnson and the Gory James race is so hot that people are scared to touch it. I have been informed that on next Saturday there will be a debate, if you can call it a debate. But there are people that would like to limit it questions to only those that live in Ward 7. Now let me repeat that because I know you can hardly believe that out in radio land. That in setting up the debate, they are setting it up where only the people in Ward 7 can ask questions. I guess when you get ready to ask a question, you have to pull out your voter's registration card, your driver's license, and say, "Look, I live in Ward 7. Now, if that was the thinking of Americans, when George Wallace was running for the governor of Alabama, no one else could ask any questions. I don't believe that the sponsors of that forum, who will be meeting in the Tabernacle Baptist Church, where people that have paid for that church and are paying only come from all wards, and they have the audacity to sit up there and say only people in Ward 7 can ask questions. Don't they know that there are many people that work in Ward 7, live somewhere else? There are many people that have children in Ward 7 and live somewhere else. You mean to tell me they can't ask questions? What kind of doing is really going on? Are you willing to deny American citizens the right to ask a question? Oh, you're saying only those people on welfare can ask questions about welfare. You are saying only those people that are doctors can ask questions about doctoring. You're saying that only teachers can ask questions about education. How ridiculous. If I were not tied up, I would be at that meeting. And I would like for someone to say to me, I can't ask a question because I live in Ward 7. Ward 7 is only a division of a city, and when whoever is elected, whether it's Willa Johnson or Gloria James, will become city councilman or councilwoman, and they will work for the betterment of this city. Now, I'm tired of black people discriminating under new names. What kind of rule is that? I would like for some of you people on that political committee to call me at 478-2103. And don't you dare tell me that only the people in my house can ask questions about my house. Maybe the grass is growing too tall, and somebody else would pass by and say, Clara, your grass is growing. I would appreciate it. This is what those people are thinking when they say to this city, the people that have built this city, that you can't ask questions because you don't live in the ward. Well, I'm going to sure ask some questions, although I will not be in the meeting. I want to ask those people that's putting on the debate a question. Why is it that you would limit somebody's rights? Not speaking of talking, and I do have something to talk about because we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of our state. I see Leonard Benton is coming back to Oklahoma City. This was the Leonard Benton that led a fight for segregated schools in Oklahoma City under that new plan. And I'm sure that when Leonard Benton arrives back in Oklahoma City, he will see the results of his action. Because without Leonard Benton's and the Urban League support, we would never have gone back to a segregated school system from the kindergarten through the 4th grade. I do hope his experiences in Atlanta, Georgia, have taught him some basic lessons about black people. And I do hope when I see my friend Leonard Benton, my friend will be new ideas. But if he's bringing the same old segregated ideas back to Oklahoma City, we're in serious trouble. Well, speaking of trouble, you don't have to have trouble tonight. All you will have to do is to go to the Economy Bingo House in the Northeast Shopping Center. They have some very specials that will be geared toward you. You can play bingo for $3 and you can win plenty of money. Remember the Economy Bingo House located in Northeast Shopping Center. Mr. George Singer is the owner. We pause today and think about those people that have lost relatives this week. And here's Onita with the death announcement.
Ralph Funeral Home announces the following services. Services from Mr. Robert Shepard of 6905 London Way, room apartment 236, will be Sunday at 12 p.m. And that'll be graveside service at the Brown Cemetery in Boynton, Oklahoma. Funeral service from Mr. Ewell Tot Unwine of 1320 Northeast 9th will be Monday at 1 p.m. in the chapel of the Ross Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mr. John Henry MacArthur of 11305 Hillwood will be Thursday at 1 p.m. at the Mount Moriah Baptist Church. Funeral service for Mr. Willie Lee Smith of 1611 Northeast 12th is pending with the Ross Funeral Home. Temple Funeral Home announces the following services. Services from Mrs. Mabel LeGrand of Oklahoma City will be Tuesday at 2 p.m. in the chapel of the Temple Funeral Home. Funeral service from Mr. Johnny Jones of Oklahoma City, 1 p.m. Tuesday, and that will be graveside services at the Trice Hill Cemetery. Funeral service from Mrs. Rita Glover of Oklahoma City will be at 11 a.m. Tuesday at the Emmanuel Baptist Church. Funeral service from Mrs. Dorothy Carter of Oklahoma City is pending with the Temple Funeral Home. Services from Mr. George Session is also pending with the Temple Funeral Home. We would like to say to the families today, be not wearied, for labor will cease. Come all with change into infinite peace. Oh, what a time of rejoicing when all the ransoms are gathered at home. There with the loved ones who've gone on before, we shall sing praises to the Lamb forevermore. And back to Clara.
Get to know the people that we do business with. The people at the Skyview Nursing Center, located at 2200 North Coltrane Road, want you to get to know them as neighbors. They want you to meet their staff. Judy Crane, Estelle Bug, Sonora Major, Susan Robinson, and Hosea Major. Judy Crane is the owner and the administrator. Estelle Bug is the director of nursing. Sonora Major is a food service supervisor. Susie Robinson is a social service director. And Hosea Major is a maintenance supervisor. Now, if you want some good service, and when you cannot take care of your relatives, I want you to remember the Skyview Nursing Center, located at 2200 North Coltrane Road. The telephone number is 427-1322. And I'm so happy to tell you about the Skyview Nursing Center. You know, I have 2 nursing homes that I recommend to you. It's Soul Bazaar time in Oklahoma City. It's Soul Bazaar, April the 27th and the 28th is next Friday and Saturday, and you are invited. The theme, look at us now, 100 years after the run. And I will be telling you more about that later in our show. And here's my ace reporter, Letty Hunter.
Good afternoon, and how are all of the radio audience this afternoon? And we have such a beautiful day, and I'm sure everyone enjoyed the beautiful parade downtown on yesterday. So, Mrs. Luper, I want to say to our radio audience that I'm still looking forward to them coming on May the 27th. We only have a few Saturdays left until May the 27th, and I know they have put a great big mark on their calendar for May the 27th. Now, what is so important about May the 27th? I know someone out there wants to know. And what about the time? The time is 6:30 p.m. And where is the place? The place is the Regency Inn. And what's going on so exciting out there at the Regency Inn on May the 27th? Well, the thing that's so important, radio audience, is the testimonial retirement dinner for Clara Luper. And I know I'm looking for all of you out there. And by the way, Mr. Leslie Brown, just because Mrs. Luper said you were not on her side, don't you worry, because I'm going to be looking for you to be at the Regency Inn on May the 27th to help with this testimonial dinner. Now, this is one time that you can come and make your testimony any way that you want to make it, because you won't know what she's going to say. So now, Mr. Brown, don't stand home. Send your reservations in so that you can attend this wonderful affair, the testimonial retirement dinner for Clara Luper. And again, I'm saying to all of my Zeta friends, I'm looking for you to be there in big number, because I know the AKA's friends, and I got a lot of AKA Zetas out there, and they're going to be there, I know, and the Deltas and the Sigma Gamma Rhos and the Meek Highs and the Phi Delta Kappas and all of these other sororities that I have not names I have not called. And I'm looking for representatives from all of the churches, too. I know you didn't expect that, but I am looking forward to you coming. Now, as far as the NAACP adults, I'm looking for them there. The youth have already made their commitments, and they're going to be there 100 strong. So I know we're all coming out to this wonderful affair to see who is going to be at this big testimonial retirement dinner for Clara Luper. Clara, I know you didn't know that's what I had to say, but I did want to say that to you. And I want to congratulate you on the parade yesterday. I was happy that you did have 2 cars in the parade, and I felt we were well represented. I'm glad that you had the NAACP youth there, and you also had a Miss Black Oklahoma City and Miss Black Oklahoma also in the beautiful parade. And I thought they were just wonderful.
I would like to add my appreciation to Mr. Slim Owens, who furnished one of our red convertibles, and to Ellis Hildred and his friend for furnishing the other one. They were just beautiful.
And I understand that you just said Mr. Leonard Benton will be back to head our Urban League.
Yes.
Urban League again.
Yes.
So, Mr. Benton, I'm extending to you a great big invitation, too, to this testimonial retirement dinner for Clara Luper. So come on out and support this testimonial dinner.
I'm sure Leonard will, because
sure.
Leonard is my friend and he understands. I mean, I understand that he thought he was doing what's right, but I want him to come back home, and I want him to go to the schools on the northeast side and look at them, because they are now 99.9% all black.
Well, I'm sure that also, did I say I'm going to be looking for that Urban League, to have an Urban League table at that testimony dinner?
I'm sure they will, after all the nice things that I've said about them.
They will be there, and also the YW and the YM. I know they're getting their groups all ready. And I'm not talking about the other organizations that we have here, in civic organizations that we have here in our town, but I'm talking about these that I am working so hard with and trying to motivate. And I know our library staff has to be there to put some input in it, because this is going to be history, this testimonial retirement dinner. So they're going to have to be there also to help with the history of this testimonial dinner.
Well, lady, I certainly appreciate the effort that you're putting forth in this dinner. Also, all of my children and my diamonds. I want you to know that I do appreciate it, because I've told all of you out in Radio Land that if you have anything to say about me, whether it's bad or good, say it while I can hear it. And if you have any flowers to give to me, give them to me while I can smell them.
And this is a good time to do it. If you want her to smell those roses while she's living, then bring them on out here to this testimonial retirement dinner.
Okay, well, Shelley's here. She has something to say about the dinner and to share with you.
All right, Sally.
We have just received some letters from the Congress of the United States, and it says, Dear Miss Luper, I have just learned of your retirement from many years of teaching school. Let me congratulate you on your record of wonderful leadership, which has been such an inspiration to so many that you have influenced. I'm sure that no one, upon retiring from teaching, ever took with her as high a degree of respect and good wishes from so many devoted students and friends. May God bless you. Sincerely, James M. Inhofe, Member of Congress.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? That is really great, and I certainly appreciate him taking out time to send such a wonderful letter.
And
because
we received another one from the Temple B'nai of Israel.
Oh.
Which says, 4901 North Pennsylvania Avenue, which says, Dear Clara, I speak for many members of my congregation who learned a lot from when you spoke at the Temple B'nai Israel. You truly were our teacher. Your struggle and your story are the Oklahoma version of the Exodus from Egypt. I am proud of you and proud to say that I know you. I pray that your past glory is but a preamble for an even brighter future. With love and admiration, Rabbi David Packman.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Shelley? Don't you wish, I do hope that you will live that when you get ready for your retirement dinner, that you will be getting one from Congress, that you will be getting one from the B'nai, what is that, B'nai?
Temple B'nai Israel.
People B'nai Israel. Isn't that is really, really great. Because, and one thing I can say, I know this person that we have in this testimony really deserves it, because I remember once she was out of the teaching profession, and we just got together and we just said, no, you got to get back in there because you have too much going for children. And we insisted that she get back in, and I'm regretting her retirement. I wish she could stay in there about another 10 years, because I feel the educational system is going to definitely miss a great educator and a great promoter. And a great, great teacher. This is what I would really like to say to all of the radio audiences listening to me this afternoon. And more than that, I'm telling them I'm going to be looking to see you. I'm going to stand there at the door so that I can see you come through that door on May the 27th to this testimonial dinner.
And we've also received letters from Dean McGee, who will not be able to attend but is sending representatives, Evelyn Lee, Mr. and Mrs. Leroy Kirks, Mr. and Mrs. Fred Davis and family, Attorney Joe Hill in Japan, Mrs. Harris and family of Elmore City, Evangelistic Church, St. James Baptist Church, Reverend and Mrs. Joseph of Luper, Oklahoma, Mr. George Singer, who will be bringing a group, Evelyn Pittman, Mrs. Blanche Clardy, David Hall and family, Henrietta Brown, Pearl Griffin, O.J. Green of Langston, and the president of Langston University, Ernest Holloway.
I hate to interfere with you, but we don't have time to call the names of all of the people that sent in reservations. We are very proud of all of you. And one thing about it, lady. Lady?
What is that one thing?
One thing about it, you will be presenting your 20th annual fashion show at the Soul Bazaar.
That's right. I will be presenting my fashion show at the Soul Bazaar. So you want to say, look at us now, be sure you come out so that you can see. Now, who are you going to be looking at now? That will remain to be seen. Now, if you want to see who you're going to be looking at now. Come on out to the Soul Bazaar, and that Soul Bazaar is April the 27th, right?
And April the 28th, it will open Friday at 10 a.m. with the James Mason Show. This is a young man who is striving to become a great artist, and he sings extremely well. This year we have a centennial themed competition with the following schools starting at 10:30. Northern Hills out of Edmond, Oklahoma, Crescent Hills, Edwards Elementary, Garden Oaks Park Elementary School, Longfellow, and Britain. At 12:30, and incidentally, the prizes will be given first, second, and third. At 12:30 p.m., there will be a rapping contest, 100 Years of Fashions, Lady Ruth Hunter's fashion show, a business seminar, and a senior citizens show. At 4 o'clock, there will be our annual Pages show, and at 4:30,